In this video, we are going to talk about traditional ways of disciplining kids. What are the pros and cons of traditional ways of disciplining kids? When we say traditional ways of disciplining kids, we all can, connect with this, like punishment, spanking, scolding. So, traditional methods, did it do any good to us? Yes, they were, pros for traditional ways, like immediate obedience or compliance. So when parents say something, out of fear of getting punished, we do things immediately. So immediate compliance was there. Parental authority was preserved, that hierarchy, parent, child, and clear boundaries. Like it kind of gave us a clear boundary. So this is my limitation, and if I cross, then I will definitely get punished. So there were clear boundaries, and there were consequences. So we were aware of consequences. So these are the few pros that the traditional ways of disciplining kids. But when we look at discipline from a connection lens, from a relational lens, it did more harm than good. How am I saying that? Let's see few ways that traditionally people disciplined. First, punishment, timeout, rules, parental authority, love withdrawal, rewards and punishment. So these are various ways in which traditionally we were disciplined. Let's quickly see, what punishment is actually doing, or what different ways of traditional disciplining does to the kid. Let's take punishment. So punishment can be either physical or verbal. So physically it is spanking or hurting the kid physically, or when we say verbal, like scolding or yelling. What it actually does to the kid, it creates fear. In long run, it creates resentment and disconnection. And whatever the short-term obedience or compliance the child does, it does out of fear and to avoid pain. And there is no real-time connection happening. So that's why it ends up in resentment and disconnection. Let's talk about timeout. Timeout, literally tells the child, it gives a sense of rejection. So the attachment, or, the sense of security, the secure attachment is getting distorted there. The kind of the child feels so much manipulated and controlled. So even when the child does something after timeout, we usually feel happy, or we feel accomplished when the child after timeout comes back and completes the work that we instructed the child to do. We feel like we have accomplished something. But you know what? The child is doing that or behaving in a particular way after timeout just because the child doesn't want to be rejected again. How about love withdrawal? See, this word may seem new. Maybe some of you would have heard it. Love withdrawal is something that we very often use, but we don't know. We have not, given a name to it. See, for example, rejecting the child or ignoring the child, not giving attention to the child. When the child comes longing for, seeking attention, we just ignore. We just withdraw our love, tell the child, to communicate the child. See, if you do behave in particular way, mommy is not going to give you that love. So just think what it does to the, what is the message the child gets from it. The child, the basic core is getting affected, the secure attachment. The child no longer feel loved. The safe, secure base, the attachment is kind of getting, disturbed. The child becomes insecure. The esteem of the child gets affected because the esteem very much depends on secure attachment. So the child's esteem is getting affected. So whatever the child does after that, the child does just to please you, to get your approval, to get your acceptance and love. Isn't it pathetic to, see our kids working to get our love? It's painful, isn't it? But that's exactly what we do to our kids when we withdraw love, just to change a behavior. Okay, another important traditional way is reward and praise. We think when we praise a kid for a behavior or reward a kid for a behavior, we think we are, kind of a good parents, not using punishment, but we just use reward. But when you use reward and praise to change a behavior, literally it works as punishment. In the sense, it again focuses on the behavioral transformation, but not on the very child, not on the connection. So when you give reward, what actually happens to the child is you are giving an external validation, external approval. So as a response, when the child obeys to your command or complies with your values, the child is doing just to get your approval. Completely manipulated. No intrinsic transformation happens. The child is not learning to do things in a right way, but rather does certain things to just get your approval. So these are few, traditional ways through which we, intentionally or even unintentionally discipline our kids. But it's high time that we have to become very intentional about what we are, doing to our kids while we are disciplining. What are we using? Like, what are the ways that we are using? Are we using punishment? Are we using praise or reward? What is the intention behind? More than intention, I would say, when we use a methodology to discipline, let's focus not on changing the behavior, but rather to build connection. Whenever there is a misbehavior or a behavior which is not acceptable, take it as an opportunity. Take it as a place where you can reconnect to the child and understand what the child is communicating, so that we can bring inner transformation. The child, transforms from within. The child learns, which is the actual focus of discipline. Discipline is to learn, to teach, to learn good behavior, right? So that really happens only when we as parents connect with the child. So again, I want to reinforce here, discipline isn't about controlling behavior, but it is about connecting with your child.